Good morning, guys. Today is the 2nd of May, 2026. My first full day here in Gjirokastër, and turn on the power in the bathroom. I'll explain that in a second. So this is my bathroom. I've just turned on the water heater. This is my kitchen, my living room, my spare bedroom, a balcony off the spare bedroom for children, and then this is the master bedroom. This is where I slept last night. I'm gonna go and give you my first impressions of Gjirokastër. My travels in Albania thus far. And just how I'm feeling today. I had some coffee from last night I didn't finish, so I'm just adding it to that. I have some, what they call one pasteurization. This is pasteurized, but it's lightly pasteurized. Apparently there are like levels of pasteurization, which we in North America aren't familiar with. This milk here is very, very creamy. If you get a chance to go to Albania, try it. It tastes so much better than the regular milk. So I ended up getting a shuttle bus from Saranda, where I left yesterday, to Gjirokastër. I was going to meet my previous landlord in Saranda, but I guess he was busy, so he just asked me to go and put the keys on the table at 9 when we agreed to meet. And then I walked down the hill to where the bus was. No problems whatsoever. The bus left 5 after 10. That was roughly 5 minutes after it was supposed to leave at 10. The bus that was supposed to take an hour took almost like an hour and 40 minutes. The shuttle bus driver was so freaking slow, and it was such a harrowing experience for a few reasons. One, he couldn't keep his hands on the steering wheel. He played with his hair. He picked his nose so often. I know, I sat right behind him. I've never seen anyone in their life pick their nose as much as that man did. He took a few phone calls as he was driving. He missed one of the passengers at one of the stops. Reversed for like 100, 200 meters to go back for the guy. On the side of the highway, mind you. He was going so slow for most of the trip. And then at one point he just kind of like stopped at a Y. Kind of like towards the side of the road, but kind of not. Still kind of like in the road. Just stopped for no apparent reason. Turned off the motor. turn it back on, turn it off again. I don't know what he was doing. It just, everything about the guy just threw me off. And since he didn't have his hands on the steering wheel most of the time, or at least both of the hands, as we were going up and through the mountains, past Blue Eye, it was just harrowing. Not a great way to start the morning. And then I got lost trying to find the Airbnb. Went up the hill and came back. I found that Google Maps really isn't very helpful in a country like Albania because there isn't a grid system. And it's really kind of hard to find your way when none of the streets actually have street signs. Oh, that's bright. Okay, so I have my coffee and this is my balcony. Pay attention, guys, to the noises you hear, okay? Because that's going to be part of the story. So I have a beautiful view. Below me is a restaurant, bar, a church there. It's like medieval. And then the Gjirokastër castle above. The balcony wraps around basically most of the apartment. And remember, there's another balcony for the other bedroom. So, carrying my luggage, you saw it on the spare bedroom, in the spare bedroom. Up the mountain, back down in a huge loop. I was exhausted when I got in here, like around 1 o'clock yesterday. I met with the landlord. Just kind of zoned out when I got here. Made a few phone calls, and then I just went around the neighborhood. One of my goals of any new city I go to is to try to find my way back from where I came. So I walked down to the bus stop here in Gjirokastër, and then walked back up without using Google Maps or trying to get lost. So I was able to do that successfully. Bought some groceries. I tried to go and buy some groceries on my first few days in a new city. So that way I'm able to ascertain how much money I'm spending, kind of. And then also just not waste anything. So I try to use up everything before I go to my next place. So I did all that, and then I just sat out here on the balcony last night. I went to bed like around 8:30. Exhausted. Luckily I'd gotten a decent night's sleep in Saranda. Actually my best night's sleep in Saranda thus far. Like a little over 8 hours and 47 minutes on Thursday night. Yesterday was May Day. I just listened to the cacophony of noises and people. So I'm gonna turn the camera around. So there's a bar, like I said, right there. And there's a bar, cafe underneath me on the first floor of this building. And there were some kids playing at that field right there to my left, and then there was a little area that they were playing also to the right of that, up that hill a little bit. It was a loud night. You could hear the kids screaming, having fun. You could hear the adults doing the same. This was the first place I've been since I've gotten to Albania that truly felt like it was a neighborhood, a true community, where people actually just enjoyed life and enjoyed living and enjoyed their neighbors. You can see where that person's walking in front of you now. That's where they were playing at last night. Not doing anything necessarily for May Day, just enjoying the day, the camaraderie of being with friends, and just welcoming. People were just very, very friendly here. I walked down here, down the street yesterday, just waved and said Preshendesh, which means hello. Everyone waved back at me, big smiles on their face. This area really just has a sense of community. I haven't seen a sense of neighborliness I haven't seen since I've been here. But this is the first area I've been to, I think, that actually feels like a full neighborhood. When I was in Saranda, most of that was like touristy stuff. In Korça, a lot of it was still touristy, as was Pogradec. And of course, I don't think Tirana really felt much like a neighborhood community city. Big cities don't normally feel like that. But I definitely felt that from Gjirokastër. So everything was kind of still very loud last night when I went to bed around 8:30. I woke up several times last night though. It's part of my impressions of the city. So I woke up at 10, and by 10 o'clock all the noise was done. There wasn't any noise whatsoever. It was very, very quiet. Again, because I think this is a real, working class, human-centric neighborhood. People were going to bed on a Friday night. They were not partying all night. After that, every once in a while I'd hear somebody make some noise. You heard some cars, a couple of honks, but nothing like in a lot of other cities. So mostly it was quiet. And then you heard the dogs. Oh my God. If you've watched any of my other Albanian videos from the beginning, from Tirana, you will remember that I've talked about, including quite a bit of my shorts, all of the stray dogs and all the dogs of Albania. I've never seen as many dogs, stray dogs, just roaming the streets. A lot of people do have animals and dogs at their residence, but outside they don't keep them in the house like a lot of Americans do. So I can't say that all of what I heard last night were strays, but oh my God, just one dog would bark and then a cacophony of dogs would bark. They'd bark at each other and at one point in time, a group of dogs sounded like they were attacking another dog. You heard, the yelps and everything. And it reminded me of my friend Korcha, who had her dog. She was taking him on a walk, and he was mauled to death by 2 strays. Sometimes you see like packs of dogs just walking and roaming together. And one of my friends that I met in Saranda, she was so scared of them that, you know, that's how I met her. She wanted me to walk her home because she was afraid that the dog was just kind of following her and watching her. The stray dogs are definitely a problem here in Albania, and I'm not blaming the dogs themselves. But anyway, I was woken up at least 5 times last night. Beyond the dogs, there was also an owl, at least 2 roosters. It was so loud. From nothing at 10 p.m. to all that noise later on in the night. At one point in time, the dogs, including that attack they were doing, that lasted at least 45 minutes. And the thing is, all the walls here are so thin, unless you're in the really old construction, which can be, you know, a few feet thick. A lot of these walls are just very, very thin, and you can hear everything. So I'm kind of I got about 7 hours of sleep. It was very interrupted. I'm not in the greatest of moods today. So it's about 7:30 now, a.m. As you can hear, it's already loud. I'm going to walk around the city after I take my shower. Might have some muesli for breakfast. Explore the city, probably walk up to the castle. For reference, the bus station is at the bottom of the hill. That's why I was so tired yesterday, just walking up with all my stuff. And then the parish priest I had in Saranda is actually my parish priest here too. He goes to 5 different parishes. He's a missionary priest. Hi, Father. So I'm gonna look for our Catholic church here somewhere in town. He does masses at different times and different days. So our Sunday mass here is a Saturday evening vigil at 6. So I have up until then to find the church. Let's see what else is here to explore. If I get a good night's sleep, I can be in a great mood. But when I don't, my mood deteriorates pretty easily. So I could have easily used more sleep. Like I said, I was exhausted. The fact that I went to bed at 8:30 last night and only got 7 hours of sleep in a matter of what should have been, 11 hours. Says a lot. So, alrighty guys, that's my first impressions of Gjirokastër. Great people, extremely loud. Take care and have a great day.